After critics and audiences almost universally panned the Tristar Pictures American-produced Godzilla 1998, Toho wasted no time to get right to work on their own reboot of the Kaiju franchise. Released the following year in Japan, Godzilla Millenium was a strong return to form with traditional suitmation combined with miniature sets, pyrotechnics, and green screen composites. Distancing themselves from the lean and agile creature who chose to avoid rocket fire, this new Godzilla returned to his damage sponging roots with a tank-like physique and a strong proclivity for property damage. And as with all Godzilla releases, Godzilla 2000, as it was titled in the United States, saw no shortage of merchandise. An explosion of books, toys, and figures, large and small, were produced to herald in the return of the king. Over the subsequent 24 years since the film released, there have been ever-increasingly movie-accurate model renditions created of the Godzilla 2000 design. Leading the charge in the vinyl figure category was Xplus, who catapulted to fame during this time for their dedication to suit accuracy and delivering high-quality figures in varying scales. Xplus has arguably gone unchallenged in the field of suit-accurate vinyl figures. Until now, a new challenger has emerged from the depths. With designs on the throne, prepare yourselves for a ground-shaking unboxing that could see the turn of the tide in the movie-accurate vinyl figure market. What we do here? This is my latest box from Japan. And it comes from a company called W-Dragon. And they largely produce Godzilla. Well, no, they don't produce Godzilla. They produce, from what I understand, dinosaur collectibles. It's like Spinosaurus, Jurassic Park type, Tyrannosaurus Rex. And they do a pretty good job. This one I got from a middleman through, his name is Andrew Wong. And he was accepting orders for W-Dragon. And so I put in an order through Andrew Wong, and he flawlessly helped me achieve getting this thing in the mail several months later. So thank you, Andrew, for the assist. And I'll link his information to all you viewers in case he offers something similarly interesting in the future that you all want to get your hands on. This thing is packed.
That is literally like 10 rolls of tape they use to put around this box.
I don't know. They know there's like, look, bubble wrap with like envelope paper with a complete layer of tape over top.
There's a type of engineering that goes into just packing packages that have to go overseas.
Yeah, I feel like this is like how they pack hearts when they transplant.
Yeah, that's it.
So there we go, W-Dragon. I don't know what the W stands for. Maybe somebody can put it in the comments. World Dragon, Wonder Dragon. Why Dragon?
Why Dragon?
Alright, so there's all that. So, yeah, like I said, this will be my first W-Dragon piece. I've never gotten anything from W-Dragon before. I'm just tearing the box up, dude.
I was gonna say, I feel like you should probably do this a little cleaner.
Well, you know, I'm doing it in a strange style, huh? You're gonna wonder, why did you spend all this money on this kind of thing?
You know, it'll be the first time I thought that walking into this room.
Love the sarcasm. All right. It's upside down. W-Dragon has some nice box art. It's not just a cardboard shipper, it's a nice photograph of the beast itself. Godzilla from Godzilla 2000. It even says it right there on the box. It's nice.
So, if I were to walk up to you with random figures
In your hand?
in my hand, or a cart because they're really big, and I was walking and I could just hold them up You could just yell out the year that it's from?
Probably.
Okay.
Probably. I had to give a good look at it. Because there's Godzilla 2000, and then there's a sequel that came out that used the same suit. I don't know if there was any tweaks to the paint or of how they do it, but yeah, for the most part, you could name that Godzilla year, and I would probably be able to do it. This says bottom. This says top.
This is a cool box.
Yeah, it's cool.
I like it.
I like the art boxes. I like the simple Xplus boxes too, but I don't like the boxes that have the stencil on it. You know, I don't know if I have any right around, but they seem kind of could have done something different. Spiral Studios has some cool boxes. Some of the boxes are art in themselves.
Yeah.
Like the King Ghidorah box was amazing. I wish I could just display that. But it's so big. It's just like, you know, it's like a refrigerator box.
I mean, that's the problem, right? You want to keep the box like intact, so you can't. I mean, otherwise you could.
It helps for like if you move.
Yeah.
It helps if you want to resell it.
Yeah.
Which
That is the.
let's face it. I mean, that's the nature of this hobby or any hobby really. If you have anything you have, what are the chances you're going to have it for the rest of your life? You know.
You pretty good. Look at that corner over there.
Oh yeah. But yeah, like for instance, like when if I kick the bucket, someone's gonna have to do something with all this stuff, right? Very cool.
Spoilers. It's gonna be Win.
Sure. I hope that I'm not the only one that just becomes immortal, because they could have given it to somebody that was a lot more deserving and more interesting than me. So cool, Godzilla 2000. Smells that fresh vinyl smell. Smells like like a new car smell.
Yeah.
New car smell, new Godzilla smell. Let's see how it goes together here. I believe he is all one solid piece. One solid piece of vinyl. I'm not sure if he's hollow or not. It's definitely pokey and clinging to the plastic. There we go. Oh yeah, super cool. You haven't, I don't think you've seen the movie that this guy comes from, but Godzilla 2000, the movie that Japan, the Toho very quickly said, Godzilla 98 didn't do too good. Let's show them how it's done. So they made this, Godzilla 2000. Okay, the tail just slips right on in there, and I think it might be magnetized. But that beats getting a hairdryer out and heating up the end and making it soft and then sticking the other piece. That really helps. So yeah, this thing looks very screen accurate, very nice pose, very nice paint. Of course, it's particularly his mouth. His mouth looks kind of wet.
Okay, so we're talking about a very nice pose, and I'm looking around at the varying Godzillas in the room.
What makes a good Godzilla pose?
Well, that's what I want to ask, because I'm looking at 10 different Godzillas, and the variation between the poses is kind of like this. So
he's not wrong, ladies and gentlemen.
I mean, like,
okay, well, you got Godzilla poses where they look like they're in motion. They got Godzilla poses where he looks like he's just kind of standing there, right? So, for instance, this is a Godzilla pose. It's very not interesting, right? He's just kind of standing there. He's even got his mouth shut.
he looks thoughtful.
He looks like he's waiting for, like if you put a deck of cards in his hand, he's
waiting for his turn. He's
got a poker
He's thinking
face.
about his next move. That's thoughtful Godzilla. I like it. Okay.
Right. Remember the movie that you said he shakes hands with what would you say the robot was?
I didn't remember his name. I don't know.
You didn't remember his name.
I called him Ultraman or something. I don't remember. Yeah.
That was a Jet Jaguar, and this is that Godzilla from that film. So if you remember, there's like a scene where they shake hands.
I do.
That's it. So I wish they would actually make a vinyl set where they were shaking hands. That would be dope. I would buy that. That's totally a scene. But this is Godzilla from that film, and this obviously relates to a shot or two or three from that film.
Yeah.
Godzilla, this is from Godzilla 2000. This sort of translates as to Godzilla, what he looked like in that film, like the various pose. Stalking, kind of the posture of the character kind of leaning forward. Obviously, the suit actor would be, you can see where he would be in here. The head would be in the neck.
Yep.
Some of the Xplus figures actually go so far as to putting the tiny eye holes in the neck.
That's cool.
But I don't see anything like that on this. They're going for just the character.
Yeah. And
obviously, I'm not sure if this is 100% suit accurate, but it overall nails the feeling. I think just by looking at it that it exceeds the X Plus version that I have. I have a 30 centimeter X Plus version. I think I actually have two 30 centimeters of this slightly different pose. But this is very, very, very well done. I like this. I'm not disappointed at all from a super fan standpoint. And also my first Godzilla figure from W-Dragon Company. It doesn't have W-Dragon printed on the foot. It just says Toho trademark and Toho Co. Limited. So that's very cool. Very, very solid. There's another figure coming out from X Plus that is Godzilla 2000, and it's actually a scan of the suit. They made the suit. They made the figure from a scan of the reproduced Godzilla suit. So it's like, it can't be. It's going to be as faithful as the scan is, and I'm looking forward to that. But I have it. I don't know when it'll be here. It's been coming forever, but it'll be in the same scale as this. But I've seen from pictures, obviously the pictures that I've seen in the pre-order, it looks like the suit, even so much as the suit is just sort of hanging on something. It's like they scanned it with him kind of propped up. It looks like he's propped up. Like Godzilla looks like he's not in a dynamic pose like this. It looks like he's sort of in a mannequin pose. But it's going to be interesting to see them together, to see the two figures together. Again, that's from X Plus, and this is from W-Dragon. So that'll be interesting to see them in contrast to each other. So here, let's see what you have to say about this. Is the differences in these different sculpts, different poses, and they're all the same character. So
all the same character from all the same film. How many different companies are represented on the table right now?
X Plus and W-Dragon. This is all X Plus, different scales. This is the first one. This is actually my second X Plus figure ever. I think it came out in, I don't know, 2013 or can't really remember.
So, all right.
So, and this was a newer release. This is their this is actually a favorite sculptor line, and it's from a company called, or originally from a resin kit produced by KOC, and this is a final representation of that, also produced by X Plus. You can see the pose is a little more like the W-Dragon. He's like more action oriented, and that's a little more, just kind of chilling there. And this is a 20 centimeter scale X Plus Godzilla 2000. And I don't know if I even did a video for these guys, but this guy had an interchangeable jaw that you can put a ship in his mouth to give him a scene, to make him look like a scene from the film where he first shows up.
All right, so looking at these, what am I doing here? Critiquing? Rating them? Because like this dude, I like the least. Having never seen the film, so I don't know what I'm comparing it to. I'm just comparing it to him and all of his buddies.
Fair enough.
So, like, I don't dig the pose. Now I'm seeing it instantly, right? I'm the guy that asked the question about the pose, and now I see it instantly. He's kind of the, He's making a,
It looks like he's having a...
It's like, I'm not happy with your attitude. It's like Mom Godzilla, who's not happy with something one of her kids just said to her. And I'm not crazy about the color of the spines.
Okay. So you'll see the color of the spines are pretty consistent. So that is what color they were in the film.
I don't feel
sort of a purplish.
No, I mean I get it.
Pink.
But they're all varying shades of that color, and I feel like, I mean, there's slight differences. And this is going to be me nitpicking, but this is the color I like the least. I mean, I think it's different enough, and I like it the least. Yeah.
Fair enough. He's the oldest one.
Yeah. Okay.
Came out a while ago, and it's been sitting up on my shelf. Not that changes; it doesnesn't age or anything.
No.
But yeah, I can see how the stance is sort of like kind of wide, and he doesn't look menacing. It's more of a museum pose. The closed mouth.
So this one's not bad. I don't really have anything negative to say about that guy, other than I wish, and maybe with the interchangeable jaw, that gives him a little bit more dynamic pose. Mm-hmm. But again, it comes back to just kind of chilling. So then it kind of comes down to these two guys.
Xplus favorite sculptors line, KOC Godzilla versus the W-Dragon.
And I am still digging the W-Dragon more. I like the color of the spines on this one better. I like, there's something about, and you said it earlier, the wetness to the mouth.
Yeah.
Like, it has that. This dude's mouth is dry. This guy needs a sip of water before going out to pose. And the other thing I'm not crazy about is the legs on that guy. It looks like he's wearing a pantaloon. The way his fat crease, like, which I realize is kind of what on all of them, but this one almost made me think that the leg actually disconnected there, like the tail joint does.
It probably does. Like,
maybe that's why.
It doesn't.
Not know.
It's glued, obviously.
Right. So, but like this one doesn't have that, right? So I mean, I like the aesthetic of not seeing the seams, right? It's like not seeing behind the curtain. The curtain, right? Yeah, exactly. So, for me, I actually think your new boy is my favorite.
Yeah, I kind of agree in terms of. I mean, I'm also I'm a little biased because he's new. He's factory fresh.
He's cult of the new. You're gonna like the new thing we just took out of the fancy box for sure.
I would say probably exactly the same way you rated him. While this Godzilla 30 centimeter Xplus had its day, I can see where it's been improved. The sculpt has been improved as it went down the line to this one. Although I wouldn't say that this one is 100% suit accurate in terms of its dimensions. Not that you can really tell too much, but he's thinner in the neck there, and he's a little more jowly here. His chest is bigger. He's more compact in this version, in the 20 centimeter. But the details pop on this. But the details and the paint, I think that even his claws look sort of glossy.
Yeah, his claws, his toenails. He got a mani-pedi before the photo shoot, and you can tell.
The hands of Godzilla 2000 have always been sort of wicked. The claws have been longer, the fingers spindly, and they really captured the pose of his fingers good in this figure. They did a pretty good job with the favorite sculptors line, but they didn't do it at all with the 30 centimeter. He's just got his hands in a relaxed pose. And I don't know what they were thinking with this one. The 20 centimeter Godzilla looks like he's holding 2 cups of water. He almost has a He-Man hands.
He's at the club. He's on the way back from the bar. Here, I got you a beer.
Got you something in a solo cup. Yeah, it does look like he's like riding an exercise bike or a skier. But whatever. He's kind of cool. Price range wise, I would say. Well, this was like 10 years ago, so it's hard to remember how much they were, but they were all like in the lower 100s. This was probably 100, maybe 120, but this is like newer, so it's a little more expensive. The longer you go on with this hobby, you realize that they just keep jacking the prices. What costs $100 10 years ago now costs almost closer to $150 to $175.
Careful, you're starting to sound like an old guy.
Oh yeah, well, that's what happens when you're when you have experience, you know, you have that perspective of the good old days. But then again, hey, I can remember a time where you didn't have Godzilla figures like this. You had like a rubber bendable Godzilla that didn't even look like Godzilla. It just looked like a green man with a tail, and it's like
any lizard-like creature, they just slapped a new package on it and sold it.
Exactly.
Here, it's from the land of the lost. Well, it looks just like my Godzilla creature. What's going on?
Close enough. So, W-Dragon, 2 thumbs up. Definitely a good figure. They came out with a Godzilla Final Wars figure around the same time, but I'm not really too partial to that suit per se. The W-Dragon version of that figure looked pretty cool. I mean, it looked spot on with the figure. I mean, with the character. But, you know, I passed. And I'm looking forward to seeing W-Dragon sink their teeth more into other suits and see what they can produce. Xplus has been kind of winding down their Godzilla production here. The last couple Wonderfests and shows that they've displayed their prototypes on. Very few Godzilla offerings. Ultraman seems to be the way they're going. I know Ultraman is more popular in Japan currently than Godzilla is. I don't know how this Godzilla -1 phenomenon will change that in the coming months and years, but so far, not a whole lot going on with Xplus. The last figure from Xplus that I bought was Kong, the Kong you see behind you, and it felt strange to get Kong and then to look on my calendar and be like, I have no more Xplus coming because I have not pre-ordered anything, you know. And it's been slowing down a lot all around because of the price of these things is astronomical, and of course there's space issues that all collectors that are in as deep as I am have experienced, I'm sure. But we're fastly approaching the time where this guy is going to be selling off pieces of his collection to make room, to have money put towards other things, maybe fixing up this studio and just putting towards life in general, since it seems to be getting so much more expensive as we go. So, cool. So you're going to run right out and buy a Godzilla 2000 figure, buddy?
I'm going to pre-order it right now.
Can't. It's sold out.
I'm going to pre-order the next one. I'm just pre-ordering I'm pre-ordering something. I don't know. On the way.
Wish it was that easy. So once again, thank you, Andrew Wong, for providing the opportunity to get Godzilla 2001 from W-Dragon. Thank you very much. Wouldn't have been able to do it without you. And look forward to scoping out whatever else will be coming down the line from W-Dragon. I think it'll be a worthy opponent to Xplus. I'm always looking for other companies to come up because Xplus was the only game in town for years. It was like nobody could come close to Xplus's realism. And I feel like the guys at Xplus, I don't know, maybe they just ran out of Godzillas to do. Maybe they're just like, move on and do some other stuff. They always seem to sort of produce what they like.
Yeah.
You know, and I think after a while they might just hit a wall where they're not feeling it, and maybe they're just going to put out some Ultraman figures.
You should send him an idea. Maybe he could put his hand like this.
Like
instead.
this?
That'll reinvigorate their creativity.
Yeah, maybe. These figures are still going for more than, well, I think they're going for more than they were initially worth on the market when they first came out. But that's the thing with all these Godzilla figures. They come out and they are limited runs.
Yeah.
I always get people in the comments from a lot of my videos are like, oh, where can I get that? And I'm like, sorry, bud. I mean...
Yeah, by the time you see it, it's already not available.
Yeah, by the time I have it in front of the cameras, you're going to have to... If you're going to get it, it's usually going to have to be aftermarket, which means it's eBay prices, and eBay prices are ridiculously inflated because I think they take so much of they take a cut out of what you sell it for, and obviously the seller wants to get as much as he can from it, so they really jack those prices, and it's kind of a turnoff. My advice to anyone looking to get a Godzilla figure like an Xplus or W-Dragon or any other of these realistic Godzilla figures would be to join a private Facebook group. You have to, request to be a part of the group, and you usually just have to answer
I'm making a face. I never like when Facebook is the answer to anything.
Well,
also sounding like an old guy.
It's got its...
Yeah.
pros and cons. I mean, it's probably easier to run a Facebook page than it is to run a whole web page with a forum.
It is.
It's easier to moderate, and it's a lot of automated tools that make things easier. But there's no shortage of people there that are just there to cause trouble, and they're just there to troll. And then there's a lot of passionate people, and it's just like life.
I've heard of it.
Great people. You've been out there before.
I've been alive once.
But I recommend joining a handful of those groups. There's quite a few. The Xplus Collectors Club group is an old, tried and true club that centers obviously on just Xplus figures. There's the Collect All Monsters page, which is a great page that doesn't just focus on Xplus. It focuses on Kaiju in general, but like a broader, more broad palette of different styles of Kaiju toys from all over the world, and a good group of people. Then there's the Gigantics Club. It's like it kind of centers on the gigantic Godzilla figures put out by Prime One, Spiral. Xplus started it all with their gigantic Godzilla GMK, which is somewhere around here. I think he got put off to the side, but it's been quite a run. And as you can look at my garage and kind of tell, there's a lot of history in here. And but yeah, so if you're looking to get into the Godzilla collecting, joining one of those Facebook groups would be my primary. You can keep in touch of what's coming out, talk to fellow fans, and a lot of times a Godzilla another collector will put things up for sale on the group, and so you can see it. And a lot of times their prices are way better than eBay. They're it's not 100%, but you can get references right there on the page, like, hey, this guy's a trusted seller. I bought from him half a dozen times, or personalities that have been on these sites for so long that people can just vouch for their character rather than some nameless guy. However, if you run into somebody who wants to sell you a Godzilla figure that is pretty low in price and he only has one friend on Facebook, buyer beware. Kind of be smart about it. Make sure he's a real guy. Make sure he looks like he's been around a little while, and not just created his account yesterday to prey on people that might not exactly be familiar with the Godzilla collectible trade. Godzilla 2000. It was released in theaters, and in the U.S. theaters, it was actually released in theaters. I went to see it all by myself one time. It was, I was that one Godzilla fan that sat there and watched it. It was okay. I remember not being thrilled with it when it hit the theater. It was neat to see it on the big screen. I think it was actually the first Godzilla film I'd ever seen, a Japanese Godzilla film in a theater. So, and it came out, don't remember what month it was, but
I just love the fact that the review of the film was, it was okay as we sit behind $500 worth of sculpts from the film.
Yeah, you know what? That's another thing about collecting Godzilla. It's like some of my favorite movies in the world I don't have any collectibles from at all.
Right.
Obviously. One of my favorite films of all time is a non-Godzilla, a non-monster film. Let's even go there. Goodfellas by Martin Scorsese. It's one of my favorite films. But I don't have Joe Pesci, life-size Joe Pesci, or Robert De Niro, because it just doesn't lend itself to...
Yeah, you think?
To the...
I'm not unboxing Joe Pesci. Do not invite me over for that.
Yeah, I don't see that happening anytime soon.
Look, it's 85-year-old Joe Pesci.
Movie like Alien and Predator.
Yeah.
I do have a bunch of those.
Yeah.
But with Predator, I have a very specific... Predator is all about the details. It's not... It's I like a nice... screen-accurate Predator, and there's not that many of those. So I don't feel like I need to buy 15, 30 of them. I buy one or two, and I might be good. But with Godzilla, I don't know what it is with Godzilla. I actually couldn't articulate. I mean, I'm looking at you going, a doctor, I don't know why I collect all these. I probably, it would be healthy if I would just buy, I have these 4.
Yeah.
And I'm going to sell, if I was truly healthy, I would sell them all except for my favorite one. But I don't do that. And it might be a little bit of nostalgia, like a collection. Like you have all your baseball cards, you have all your whole set.
I get it.
But to be honest, I feel like we've gotten to the pinnacle of what you're gonna get from a Godzilla, from the detail of a Godzilla figure.
Yeah,
Like,
I mean, at this point, it's just going to change size, right?
he's gonna, if they made this one bigger, that would be like, I might want to buy it. But if they produce this again in a smaller scale, I wouldn't buy it. If it was a slightly different pose.
It's so you don't like smaller is no good. Like with Godzilla, it is bigger is better. If you need a hand truck to move your figure around, that's good.
No. It's sort of a double-edged sword. Like, I'm getting older. We're all getting older, right? And I was moving stuff around the other day, and I'm just like, this is getting to be work. Especially with some of these spiral, Ghidorah is a piece of furniture.
Yeah.
Godzilla, the light-up Godzilla over there that's no longer lit up, he weighs like a ton. Some of these things, the Godzilla bust back there, the Prime 1 Godzilla bust, it weighs it feels like one of those AC units that sits in your window. It's really heavy, and it's not ideal for it's not anywhere like it used to be when I was collecting just Bandai figures. Those little rubber figures.
Yep.
They're like toys you'd buy from the store, and graduate to these. They're more expensive and a little more realistic, and but they're light, and you can see
to me, this guy here, this is like this would be my size, right? This would be the size I want. If you can get, just take this guy, make him that size, that would be the ideal thing for me. Plus, it's easier to display. You can get them all to hang out. You don't got to take up 7 rooms in your house because you have 9 figures.
True. Yeah, and that's the difference between every collector has their own.
Yeah.
And you were saying before, there's a lot of gray. It's like when you see them all together, they kind of blend together, and that is another thing that collectors have to deal with. Is like that wall of gray. And there are some collectors that collect the designer Safubi figures that are the same figure but multiple colors, like glitter and like poppy colors, really psychedelic colors, and they got them all lined up and those are some fantastic displays, but it's all about taste, right? I'm really impressed with some of those collections. Am I the type of guy that would display that kind of character, 10 times in a different colorway? I don't think that I could go that route in terms of what I've already created. But on the other hand, I'm looking at paring down my collection and making it a little more manageable. So maybe I'll see you guys on the Godzilla forums and I'll sell it to you. Or,
oh man, this was just a long pitch to sell figures online. I got you.
No, because I'm not ready yet. Like, I'm not 100% ready yet. But I'm getting to that stage. I'm getting to the stage where I'm getting to the stage where I'm ready to part with some of them, and someone that'll appreciate them more than I am able to appreciate them with my collection, because I know that there's guys out there that are ready to start.
Yeah.
And maybe they're ready to start, but they're so astronomically expensive on eBay.
Yep.
This would be the right place to start.